Hello, everyone. Welcome to our semester meeting. As you can see on your screen, I have put
Yes, good
the
morning.
translation as well, so we can make sure that this is done in both languages. We are recording this, so you have this for future reference if you love to hear my voice and want to hear it again, or if you have questions on something that we talked about. That will be available, as well as if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will make sure that we are putting those out, putting any questions and their answers out there. Okay, so let's get going. I will start right away so that we can make sure that we're getting through everything. We have a lot for you today. I really want to start by thanking you all for joining me. I know these Saturday visits are not always a lot of fun and easy for everyone, but I think it gives us the opportunity to get as many people together as possible. And there's a lot of information that I really want everyone to have at the same time. Now, if you're faculty or instructors, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being part of our team. If you're not faculty or instructors, even though it says faculty meeting, I did put this out as an invitation to all. The reason for that is I want everyone to hear the same information at the same time. But I also think that it's very important that as a team, we're transparent. And it doesn't matter whether you're managing the library or managing the Learning Resource Center or you're on campus as an assistant. It's important that everyone has the same information. So again, I just want to remind you, any questions, please put them in the chat. All questions will be answered and a message will go out to everyone. So we have all of the answers at the same time. It's a little bit difficult with numerous people on a call to take questions. So today, you are hearing from me right now, in case you didn't know that. I guess I should have said that. I'm Dr. Donna Beans. I'm the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs and Product Strategy. This is my third all-faculty meeting with you all. So if you've been here, you have heard from me before. After I'm done, we're going to have Dr. Claire Brady, Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, join us. James McKnight, Director of Student Retention, will join us after that. And then we want to have a little talk on operations and safety. So we will have Luz Velez come in and Bill Lynch, the Associate Vice Chancellor of Learning Resource and Project Management. And our Canvas guru is going to come in. He will give you a quick introduction at the end of this event. And then you all received another link for the next event, which will be another Canvas training. If you need that, he will put that in the chat towards the end of the meeting. I wanted to take a minute to really thank all of the team that has worked with us to put this together. I also want to make sure that I do a great big reach out to our HR team and student services who have joined us and operations. I think it's very important for us to all hear and be on the same page. And I thank them very much for taking their time to be with us. In 2021, I spoke with you about our theme, which was Elevate. So how did we as a community elevate AGMU over the last year? We've done so much, but let's touch on a few of the things. In August of 2021, we started the process of really becoming AGMU. When AGMU finally received our Middle States approval and our CIE annual license, I have to tell you, a collective cheer could be heard across our 4 campuses. It was a lot of work. All 4 campuses went through a CIE visit and received no findings, which was remarkable. We had some wonderful help on each of the campuses with campus directors, academic directors, our directors of nursing. They were all there and part of this process. And we appreciate so much all the work that they have done to get us this no findings. But we had so many other things that happened up to that point. That was what I like to say, the frosting on the cake. That was that final piece of it. But what built the cake? What put that all together? I think we have to first start with becoming AGM University has not been without its challenges. We all know that. But with persistence and perseverance, we found success. An example of some of the ways we elevated AGM University can be seen in March. The amazing product development team became part of the academic team. That meant that we were not two different departments, but all together we were building for the success and for the programs that we were delivering to our students. We took the program directors and we elevated them to dean's role. We gave them more responsibility. We gave them a lot more accountability when it came to what is in their program. What does that mean? And they were responsible for these newly created schools. We have 6 newly created schools with a dean at the top of each of them. The deans also, with their faculty, began to reorganize the programmatic outcomes, to redesign the syllabi so that they met the requirements, and so they gave our students the information that they need right from the get-go. We received approval from FBON for the AGM University Nursing School, and we submitted our first ASIN application for South Florida. Major shout out to Nancy Walke and to Jackie James, who worked really hard, as well as the other directors of nursing, put their time and effort into getting this application out. Each one of the directors of nursing is responsible for their campus, but they're also responsible to assist each other, and they have done a wonderful job with that. As we become one and we move together, we've moved to a more centralized scheduling. So it's not about scheduling at MOC or scheduling at South Florida. It's about what does the big picture look like for our scheduling. And that has definitely helped us to reduce the number of courses that need to be offered with small amounts of students in them. We're going to get even better at that as time goes on. And we expanded faculty support. So what does all of this mean? What does it really look like to us? Well, it really means that back in January, I showed you what AGM University would look like. And today, I'm thrilled to tell you that we are officially owned by AGMU Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of Sistema. So Sistema will always be our parent. But as with any child, a point comes when they have to find their own success. So AGM University is now moving towards finding our own success. And that means a lot to us. What it means to all of you is that we have consistency across the board, a consistency with all of our programs, consistency with who you are and who you work for. So AGM University is what we want everyone to know. And what does that mean? What kind of changes do you think you're going to see? Well, we all have to worry about what's changing. So let's make sure we understand that as a child leaves their parent, they create their own way. And we had to begin by establishing who we want to move to be in the future. So we started with our new governance structure. We moved to new policies, new catalog, and new faculty handbook. Of course, we're moving to a new LMS, our Canvas. We also worked on new pay scales and new calendar. And then we evaluated the structure of our courses, and we changed the number of weeks in the semester so that we could make sure that we were offering all students as much opportunity to get their education done as quickly as they wanted. Finally, we added the support system for our faculty, affectionately named FACE, Faculty Advancement Center of Excellence. So as you're hearing about FACE more and more, just remember FACE is because faculty are the face of AGM University, and that's where it really came from. And you're going to see we have a lot to offer in there. But let's start. We have a new catalog and a new handbook. I know it was a long time coming. Many of you remember last August, our disappointment that we could not get the new faculty manual published, but it actually ended up being a good thing. It took us a year, but it was a year of hard work. It was a year of dedication to figure out what this new faculty manual had to have in it for our AGM University. It didn't happen without some bumps in the road, and we all make mistakes. So some of the mistakes have been shown to us, and we've made those adjustments very quickly. But the official AGMU faculty manual is now out there. You'll notice that everywhere you see things, you'll see full-time faculty and part-time instructor. We're taking away that word facilitator because we know that as educators, you are not facilitating anything. You are teaching. You are giving our students the opportunity to learn by giving them your expertise and your experience. So I have always had ever since my days as a part-time instructor, I've always had an aversion to the word facilitator because we do so much more. So as we're moving forward, you'll see in our catalog, in our faculty manual, that we indicate that it's full-time faculty, part-time instructors, or we call you educators. The official AGM University catalog was published on the website. It did not have all the bells and whistles we hoped for. We tried to get really fancy, but we just ran out of the time to do it. But we now have a year to make the next one spectacular. What this one does have, however, is some really great information for faculty, for students, for administrators on new policies. We've worked very hard with our student services and operations teammates to come up with the policies and procedures that we will move forward with as AGMU. One of which is when you're teaching at AGM University, what are some clarifications that we have to make sure we understand? We needed to streamline and have accountability for the learning engagement time and places. Prior to COVID, a lot of this was standardized, but then COVID happened and we all needed to take a step back for our students' mental health, for our mental health, for the ability to move into an online structure and do virtual teaching. So we're out of that COVID shutdown, and all our regulators are expecting us to return to something called normal. That means for us that as classes have to be held, as they are scheduled in person. For engagement time, it's assigned how much time needs to be there. And all classes are required to have a roadmap, which we call a syllabus or an outline that we want posted in Canvas. This gives the transparency to our students that we need them to have. It also makes them accountable for what is due to you as their faculty member. And we have a leg to stand on if there's a complaint from a student that you did not allow them to turn something in late. Well, your policy and your syllabus says no late assignments. We're going to stand by what you're posting in that Canvas site. Remember that we continue to follow the Carnegie engagement method, and that means that one course credit equals 15 hours of professor-led engagement over the term. So 3 credits is 45 hours. In a 7-week term, that means if the course meets 4 hours a week, the faculty still need to provide some type of engagement with the students for the remaining time. Now, engagement does not necessarily mean, obviously, that you're sitting in the same room with them, but this could mean that you're giving them videos to review and to write about, or something that is much more engaging than just the repetitiveness of a homework assignment. And I know that I don't need to tell you all what that means, as you have been teaching for many years for the most part. So you can definitely look for assistance if you need it. We're here to help. And as we're moving more and more towards different policies, another example of some policy changes is our faculty kept telling us, please fix the incomplete policy. We really need to have a better worded incomplete policy. So if you take a look in the catalog, you will see that this is one of those policies that we put much more specific information on. It's not just incomplete because someone is failing. They really have to have had a reason to get that incomplete. There are a lot of policy changes, so make sure that as you're working through the catalog, you're checking that. Or if you have a situation that comes up, if you cannot find it in the catalog, please call one of the academic team so that we're able to make sure that everyone is getting the same information. I do want to discuss one of the bigger changes today, and the first one of those is governance. During the year, the team worked really hard to create a governance structure which would allow the voice of the faculty to be part of critical academic areas. What I found when I came to AGMU was faculty had a voice as part of a big committee, but that was only certain faculty. We need all faculty to be able to have their voice. And to do that, we split up the academic governance structure. So all schools will have their individual school committees that they will make decisions based on what their school needs. And then each of those schools will report down to a bigger curriculum committee. Again, this is still run by the deans and the faculty. This is not an administrative committee. This is for decisions to be coming from the faculty. Once those decisions come to a place where we have some information, those will come down to the curriculum subboard. That's where it's presented to the AVCs, the faculty representatives, the deans. Everybody's listening to what's being said. At no point does this skip any of the processes that go along with needing the committee to vote on them, to make sure that we're all on the same page or all in a consensus along the lines. And then eventually it will come down to that academic affairs board. And I put me as there because I'm the one who then will take this and report to the chancellor and to the administrative council. So that part of it doesn't change. I'm still reporting to them as I always have. The difference is, instead of this being a downward reporting to be something we're reporting to you as faculty, we want faculty to report to us what the changes need to happen. So pretty soon you're going to get some information. Everyone on this call, everybody that was part of this email, will get some information from Carmen, and she will ask for volunteers for each of the curriculum committee, faculty affairs committee, assessment committee. We will have your deans work with you to try to set up your individual school committees. But really the whole point of this is that we're going to take an extra month to get this set up, but that extra month is going to be so we're able to put a plan in place for us to make sure faculty voices are heard. So starting fall 2022, most of you know this because we're only days away from fall 2022 starting, but all undergrad programs are moving to 7 weeks in the online English and US campuses. Online Spanish is still going to keep their 5-week programs in 5 weeks. The reason for this is in Puerto Rico, that 5-week program really means something to the student who lives in Puerto Rico. So we've decided to keep those, but all other programs, if they had an 8-week undergrad program, it's going to 7 weeks. All master's programs except the MSW will move to 7 weeks. The MSW and all doctoral programs will remain in 8 weeks. Now, often the question comes, well, what's special about the MSW? Well, if you don't know, we haven't talked with Janet yet, but we are submitting for candidacy for the MSW. So we're trying to become candidates in that for the Council on Social Work. So we cannot make changes to the program right now. Nursing will have 14-week courses. Some of the courses for nursing are 7 weeks, but the majority of the actual courses are 14 weeks. This way we have time for clinicals, we have time for labs, we make sure that we can spread as much time with those students as possible so they can get the skills they need. Some of the other externships, dissertations, or clinicals in other programs will be 14 weeks. That will be indicated by the schedule. We will no longer have 16-week terms. A semester is based on what is submitted to the Department of Education. The Department of Education has a beginning and an end for each semester, and all of our courses have to fit within that time period. So the most amount of weeks that our courses have is 14 weeks, and any of the 16 weeks are going to 14 weeks. All of the remaining UAGM courses, the ones that we are not bringing over, and I'll talk about those in just a minute, they're going to run on the same schedule and they're going to be in Canvas. Blackboard will not be available to faculty or students beginning for this fall start. So I keep mentioning Canvas. Canvas is finally here. Hopefully to all of the people on this call, you've at least gone into one training. The trainings have been done in Spanish, in English, on ground, online. We've tried to make as many opportunities available for our faculty to receive training, for our staff to receive training, and for our students to receive training. but it's finally here, and we've waited a long time for this. Our teams, they've trained, they've prepared, they've trained some more. They want to make sure that they can answer the questions that come from you as faculty as well as students. Bill Lynch and the FACE team have worked to make Canvas a home for our faculty and our students. One of the big things you will find is when you come into Canvas, it's not just to teach your course. It may be because you want to find a resource. It may be because you want to communicate with your other members of the faculty. It may be our committees are part of this. We also want to make sure that we're doing some thought leadership, and that as faculty do things, we're able to promote that across the university. If you're speaking at a conference, we want to know. If you've written a paper, we want to know, because all of that information is important to you, and therefore it is important to us in the administration, but also to your other faculty and instructors that work with you. FACE, I keep saying FACE. I just want to make sure that everybody can see a picture. We said that because we named it FACE because faculty are the face of AGM University. And part of this initiative is to have everything we can imagine in one place. Feel free to email us with your thoughts. If there's something more you need to be part of this, remember, this is for you, to be used by you, and to support you. So let's make sure that we're giving you as much information as you can. I have to give a huge shout out to the Learning Research and Project Management team run by Bill Lynch. They worked hard to get the Faculty Advancement Center of Excellence up and running. They've worked hard to put in as much of the information that they could to start us off this year, but they're expecting, as I said, for us to give them more content, give them more ideas on what we need as faculty or what you need as faculty, and to help make sure that we're keeping you updated. We'll put newsletters in here. We'll put information on monthly academic meetings. We'll make sure that we promote our thought leadership by faculty, or if something is going on in the community or in a professional organization, we want you to know that. So there's a few more changes I want to make sure that you know. We have updated the part-time instructors' pay. Now, part-time instructors were paid at the diploma level, the undergrad level, graduate level, and doctoral level. A lot of my diploma level faculty came and said, listen, I'm doing the same amount of work as I would if this was an associate's class or a bachelor's class. I have to put as much time in because engagement hours require it. Why is there a lesser pay for that level? And we really went through talking with operations about this and talking with our HR counterparts, and they agreed that having a level of undergrad, grad, and doctoral was very important. So we have removed the diploma pay. For FMP, our nursing staff has, your directors of nursing have come over and over and said, you need to redo this schedule. We have to be able to look at this schedule, and it makes sense to employ those people that are very hard to get, to come in the day and teach a class or to be on a clinical site. So we put one pay scale based on the students instead of the credits. And nursing had some courses that were paid lesser and some classes that were paid more. We said that doesn't make any sense. You have to put the same amount of time in regardless of what the class is. If it's 3 credits, you have to put that 3 credits in. And it requires a nurse who's certified and who has the credentials. So we put one pay scale in there as well. All of this information will be given to the academic directors, and they will have that. So there's no more surprise amounts. We want to make sure that you know from day one what you're going to get paid, or not exactly from day one, because what we've decided to do is we've decided to put a line in the sand, as they say. So we are going to determine the number of students that are in a class the day after add drop. And this way, if you're teaching a class at the end of add drop and you have 10 students in that class, and week 2, you have 2 students drop or 3 students drop, your pay is not changing. Once we've committed to that pay, on the day after add drop, that's the pay that you're going to get in the different pay periods. So as you'll see, what we did was we put the first pay period after add drop, and then the final pay period is after grades are posted. 5-week classes will have 2 pay periods. 7-week classes will have 3. 8-week will have 4, and 14 will have 7. And I will have this schedule as well as the online Spanish schedule that has the 5 weeks. We will have all of that available on the FACE website. So when you go to FACE and you say, am I supposed to be paid this week? You won't have to guess. You can go in the schedule from HR and payroll will be up there. So you will know if that is a date that you are getting paid. We're hoping that this is going to alleviate a lot of the, I didn't get a paycheck. Oh, wait, it's not a paycheck week. Oh, well, I didn't get a paycheck this week. Okay, now we know that there's a problem, because we find that when someone doesn't get paid, they assume it's not their paycheck week. And then we're 3 or 4 weeks into it before they finally say, okay, I really need to figure out why I'm not getting paid. We don't want that to happen. If you are supposed to be paid and you look at the FACE website and it's a pay date and you are teaching a class and you're saying, I didn't get a paycheck, please, please, please let us know right away. Let your academic director know. Let HR know, whatever you need to do, but make sure that we know. The sooner we know there's a problem, the sooner we can fix it. Back years ago when I was in the classroom and I was teaching as a full-time faculty member, I used to tell the students, you can walk out of the class and say, oh, I didn't understand that, or oh, I don't like my teacher, or whatever it is that you want to say. But the honest truth is, unless you come to us and tell us, we may not know. There are a lot of faculty members. There are a lot of classes. There are a lot of students. We try to keep our hands in every piece of that. But please, if something is not going right, if it's your pay, if it's your schedule, whatever it happens to be, make sure that you're letting us know that. So some additional things. I talked a little bit about UAGM to AGM University transformation. Well, our UAGM students, they've been transferred for the most part, except for the bachelor's in social work and master's in social work and the FNP and all international students. So once we make all these changes, the UAGM MSW, not the AGM University one, the UAGM MSW will no longer accept students. They're not accepting students at this point. We're accepting the students. The BSW will remain with UAGM for now. The reason we're keeping the BSW at UAGM is because to get the candidacy and accreditation through CSWE, we have to do one program at a time. And we're in our MSW right now. So the FNP will remain with UAGM until AGM University receives our ASIN approval. As I mentioned earlier, we have filed for our ASIN approval. We are very excited to have gotten that done for South Florida. The other campuses are quickly behind the first filing. And once that happens, we will stop enrolling for the FNP and we will start enrolling with AGM University for the FNP. So all of that will be coming down before our next meeting in January, I hope. We are transitioning these students as best as we can. There's obviously the students need to sign something. Student Services is working very hard. I have to say that there's a lot of people to shout out with this. Bill Lynch, our registrar, Bethany, James, and Student Services, and many others who had to look at each of these students, create crossworks between programs, and make sure that we got these students excited to sign on. So that is all in the process. We're still waiting for CVIS approval, which will allow us to move the international students. They keep telling us any day. If anybody has ever worked with the government, any day could be any day. Who knows when that's going to come? So we're waiting for that patiently or impatiently, depends on who you ask on what day. All right, some more big news. If you're a Tampa person, you may have heard a little bit of the whispers. Tampa will be moving to a new building. Our expectation is that will happen in January 2023. We need to go through all of the regulatory approvals through letting Middle States know, letting CIE know that we're moving our building. And as we're going to go through that, we're also renovating inside the building to make sure that this is a really wonderful space for AGM University to grow. It has some beautiful classrooms which have labs in them. There's about 32 offices. There's a staff lounge. There's a part-time faculty area, which was something that I pushed hard for. Hopefully it ends up being a very positive piece. On the first floor, when you come in the building, there is going to be a room that is going to be set up with hot desks. So desks that part-time instructors can come in, they can sit down, they can meet with their students, they can do some of their prep work there, they can have their office hours. There'll also be a table in there, which will be something that if you're meeting or if you're having some time that you need to sit with a few students, you'll be able to do that. And this area is really going to be used for you to be more engaged on our campus, for you to be more part of it. So if you come for a 6 o'clock class and you're there at 4:30, we don't want you sitting someplace in the lobby. We want you to have a space, and we want to show you the respect and the appreciation to give you that area so that we can have you meet with your students. The students will also have a common area, which is a really nice little space. It's out at the back side of this building, and it's going to be a wonderful transition into this new building. Again, our hope is that January 2023 is when we will have the big move over there. Probably by November, we will have the doors opened and we will have some type of ribbon cutting or something so that we can start to show the potential students this information. We had planned on pushing the new email address out. The problem that we ran into with the new email address is the Active Directory that is needed for our single sign-on into Canvas, into all of the other programs that we work with. It was a lot more to change to get you guys this email address right away. Instead of rushing through and having problems, we said, let's just take a step back, get everything done, and then we'll roll this out for the summer 2023. So everybody will eventually have an agmu.edu email address. So stay tuned for that information. Some other big news, just to keep everybody in the know. We are working on revising our language program. Currently, we have courses in Spanish, courses that are in the bilingual 50-50 model, and we have English. What we're finding more and more is in the US on-ground campuses, we find that as we're teaching the students in Spanish, we're sending them out to clinical sites or to jobs, and we're receiving back feedback from those places saying, I love that your student can speak Spanish, but I need them to speak English also because we have a mixture. I need them to have both languages. And we said, you know, we really want to make sure that we're supporting our students in their future, but we have to make sure that the model of bilingual that we put out there is something that is not going to hinder them. I'm all about additive bilingual. I want to add to their natural tongue, not take away from it. I don't want them to be restricted from that. So we're working on moving this into a direction where our Spanish programs will become, again, this is on campus, will become bilingual. And we'll start to work with our bilingual programs to give them less of the 50-50 option and more of the, here's the information in both languages so that we can support you. If you're speaking to if you're in a medical facility and you're speaking to a patient who only speaks English and a doctor who really only speaks Spanish, we want you to be able to speak to both of them. We want you to be the best intermediary that we can have you be. So I put help wanted here because this is a big task. We need to do some test runs with our processes. So if you're on campus and you say, hey, I'm willing to try this. If you're teaching a Spanish class, excellent, because that will give us an even better opportunity to look at that. But if you teach in bilingual and you say, I'm ready to try, I've got to redesign my model of teaching in this new Canvas environment. So let me redesign it with this idea of the bilingual method. If you're interested, please contact through Face, Lynette or Bill, and they will absolutely get you some work to do in this process because many hands make little work, but we have a lot to do for January. Why the big push for January? What we're seeing more and more is that the demand continues to rise for bilingual, especially Spanish and English. But according to the last Census Bureau, only 21.6% of the US population spoke a second language fluently, and even less of them could read and write in that language. So as our students are going out there to get jobs, if they have this skill to be able to read, write, and speak in both languages, the pay has been increasingly higher and higher because the need is out there. So definitely we're looking forward to getting everyone involved in this new initiative. I just want to say one more time that online Spanish will remain online Spanish. We will continue to teach in Spanish. That group, we want to be very careful that if we add a bilingual model to that, we're adding that to support them, but certainly not to take away from them speaking Spanish and their terminology in Spanish when they're still in Puerto Rico or other places that speak Spanish in the majority. But our on-campus will go to the new bilingual model, and our online English will remain online English. My hope, and this is off script, but my hope is that one day we will be able to offer to the native English speaker a bilingual option, because that for me is something that is not done where I've seen anywhere. And as someone who for a year has been with tutors and practicing and learning Spanish, I do believe that we could offer a great benefit to those that have a native English speaking and need to learn in Spanish also. So I want to jump over to Student Affairs has given us some great dates. I had to tell Dr. Brady when she was putting her presentation together, I stole your dates. I wanted everybody to see these. So we know we have Welcome Week. We know, Labor Day is closed, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving recess. We have those that are closed. But on this, it also tells us when these career days are. So much is happening that we really want our faculty to be involved. Remember that our students look to their instructors, and they love their instructors, and they love when their instructors are involved outside of the classroom. So be part of the career fairs and other offerings by Student Services. It's such a great team. Student Services will keep us updated on the events, and we'll make sure to put those in the Face Center so everybody can see them in one place. Last year we focused on elevating to AGM University. Now we really need to focus on building this community, and to build this community with our students, we need to have the faculty involved. It's happening fast with our amazing Student Services team led by Dr. Claire Brady. But a true university community requires the faculty to show their dedication and passion outside of the classroom so students see that you're there. Also, this year is about accountability, though. So we're giving you calendars. We're making sure those calendars have dates on them. If you're anything like me, I take those dates and put them right in my personal calendar so I know that's going to pop up at me. For leadership to be accountable to our faculty and students, faculty must be accountable for the required tasks that keep us all compliant. So mark your calendars. It's very important that every single educator submits their census, i.e. that's your attendance at week 2, and their final grades on time. We cannot roll grades to the next term, which means all students sit there waiting, but sometimes those classes are already starting. We need to roll those grades in time. So make sure your final grades are posted by the deadlines. These deadlines are not negotiable because we're in a compliance place. We have to comply with whether it's the U.S. Department of Education or if it's when grades need to be rolled so that we can start the next session. We are federally required to submit attendance. So that's not just us giving you a hard time about why didn't you submit your census. It's something that we have to report out to. So I ask you to please don't let your name show up on the did not submit list. And we are going to work towards 100% compliance in these 2 areas. As you look at this, it's just an overview of some of the dates, but do remember that this will be, as well as other dates, will be in the Face Center for you. So with all of those words, I'm going to thank you all for coming today. And now I want to give you the opportunity to hear from Dr. Claire Brady for a student success update. You're also going to hear from James McKnight who is going to give us some great information. And remember, at the end of this, the Canvas training will start, and we will post the link for that Canvas training at the end of this meeting. So I am now going to end my slideshow, and I'm going to ask Bill to take over.
You're all set, Dr. Brady. I've unlocked the ability to present. So if you'd like to share, go right ahead. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I hope this is the hardest thing I do all day. That is my goal, right? Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Dr. Veens. I feel the love this morning. I always say that the faculty meeting to me is the true fall kickoff, right? It's the very first day that says to me, oh my gosh, we're a week away to this awesome fall semester. So good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful to join you. I bring greetings from all of your colleagues in student affairs, many of whom are working as well this morning to get students registered, financial aid processed, international students approved. All of that is happening fast and furious on all of our campuses in the last few weeks. And this week in particular, much like you, we have a very busy week ahead. We have spent the last year doing many of the same things that academic affairs has been doing, building, growing, fortifying our infrastructure. And so I always love to share our mission statement and our vision with everyone, because I think it tells you a little bit about where our focus lies. So we do foster student success, and that's a huge priority for us, by cultivating student learning, belonging, engagement, inclusion, and well-being. And you'll see that much of the programming and additional support that we offer falls into those categories. So that's always very important to us. Who are we? Well, we represent a lot of various departments on the campuses, anything from retention, which comprises academic advising and counseling. We work a lot with our academic colleagues around ADA accommodations, how they pay their bill, how they get their financial aid. We plan the commencement ceremonies. We do a lot of community and academic referrals for students, and on and on and on. So I also love to include pictures of the people that make up student affairs. As you can tell, we are very serious educators, but we also like to have a lot of fun, just like you guys do. So one of the things I really wanted to highlight in this morning's presentation in particular is how strong our collaborations have been this past year with academic affairs. So many of the big changes that you're seeing coming in student affairs have been a partnership and a collaboration with Dr. Veens and her team and all of you. So even though it's one of those things that's oftentimes a little challenging, that first week mandatory attendance tracking on all campuses was a tough one at first. We've made a lot of changes to it, a lot of improvements. And in James's presentation, he's going to provide you some data that is showing you, is this actually working? What impact is a project like this having on our student success efforts? We did a dropout detective pilot in online English, and we are now expanding that to all campuses. And again, James will share what they learned from that and what that will look like in the coming semester. We did get our VA approvals for all AGMU campuses. That took over a year, and it was a huge collaboration. That means that students who are military or VA can now be enrolled and certified at AGMU. Huge step for us, and you're going to see a really big push for military and VA students from our admissions counterparts in the coming year. It's so interesting to me to think about creating a whole new university in the sense that we needed transcripts and we needed diplomas and we needed everything you can imagine that we'd already had in place for 20 plus years, but we needed it for AGMU. And so that was a big project that we undertook this year. The commencement ceremony is a huge point of pride for all of us, as well as some of our new web content. Our website still needs a lot of work. We know that. It still needs a lot more content. But we were able to launch a VA and military landing page, our career placement page, and commencement pages this year. We're really proud of that. Monica Bertones has done an incredible job as a one-person department in our career placement office. And she has launched a series of career fairs, boot camps, employer panels, workshops. And I just really want to give her a lot of kudos for the work that she's done. She's a lot more planned, folks. So watch her website. She's really good at communicating with our faculty. And I know that she really appreciates the partnerships with all of you. Dr. Veens mentioned this transfer project. Transferring over 400 students this summer has been a labor of love. It is still ongoing. We're still chasing about 85 students, but the bulk of the students have been transferred and are happy and know what their plan is for the fall, and we're really proud of that. And then collaborating on all of the big projects that have been happening in academic affairs around the schedule, the catalog, the new programs. And then on our side, we have greatly improved new student orientation and the new student onboarding process. And that's a piece that the faculty really shared with me last year when I first arrived at the university. They felt like our students weren't coming in the first day as prepared as they needed to be successful. And we heard you, and we have put together a very lengthy orientation and a lot of touch points along the onboarding process to ensure that our new students are well cared for and ready for that first day of class. And that campaign is called First Day Ready. I love to show pictures. I love to show this one in particular. There's Dr. Perez and Dr. Padalano on stage. Here's our students turn towards their families and thanking them at commencement. This is what it's all about, right? This is what we're working so hard to help our students achieve. I just spoke with our student affairs staff, had our similar meeting this week, and I shared with them that when you help that student, you're changing the trajectory of their family's lives. And so for me, this is an incredible moment, and I always love a little picture moment. So we did do our joint ceremony for the very first time, our faculty marshal, of course, and we learned a lot in that process, and we're already planning for next year, which is probably why I'm getting so much gray hair, right? So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what our role is as student affairs leaders on campus. Because we are a unit that's been evolving over time, we are champions for our academic learning, we're advocates, we're sounding boards for all of you. We promote things like school spirit and student engagement and university affinity. We also do a lot of conflict mediation. So a lot of times we'll do two students are having an issue in your classroom and we'll help with that. Or maybe you're having an issue with a student because of something going on with them in the classroom. We're available to help you to figure out those moments, and sometimes can play that kind of third party, non-biased person to try to get, especially when it involves two students, to a more productive place. We also are resources for interpreting policy and process. And then we also have to enforce policies a lot. Lately, I feel like all I'm doing is writing policies, but we're going to be enforcing them as well. We are champions for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're facilitators to students for the complaint and grievance process. And we do a ton of referrals to local community resources as well as academic resources. So how do we promote persistence? Because at the end of the day, the chancellor says to me probably 3 times a week, retention, 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 right? And you are our absolute partners in that retention process. So the first thing we do is we help them to have a very strong onboarding process. We need them to be first day ready. Sometimes in the online environment or for students who have less technological skill, that means making sure they have the technological resources to be successful. They have access to a computer or a laptop or Wi-Fi. It might be that they understand how their bill is going to work, or what they need, or they need to show up the first week. That was always one that shocked me a little bit. But this idea that yes, you do have to come to class every time, and in particular that first week. We have instituted mandatory attendance tracking that helps us to know ahead of the census who is at risk. We spend that first week doing intensive efforts, and then that second week, we hopefully get them back into class. We do census taking to meet our compliance requirement and also to ensure that students aren't using their financial aid and not actually going to class. James is going to tell you today a little bit more about some early alert interventions that we are launching for this fall. We do a lot around student engagement. Career planning, obviously, I mentioned. Adhering to those policies, those code of conducts, all those little rules around census and grade roster and last date of attendance, all of that relates back to compliance and federal regulations. And again, we do a lot of referrals and working to improve the student experience. So where do we need your help? This is the piece. This is the meat, people. This is the most important part. Where do we need your help the most? We need your help to monitor and report that first week attendance 24 hours after each class session. Our team starts getting on the phones, texting, emailing as soon as those reports start coming in. And so we need you to do that. We need you to report accurate course census. We spend a lot of time going back and fixing doing retroactive cancellations, and other things that are very messy for the student, very messy for Title IV. And so being accurate in your census matters. Timely graded feedback throughout the PT. This is going to be especially important as we use the tool called Dropout Detective, which the vast majority of the data is brought in through the gradebook. And so for Dropout Detective to be a tool that's actually going to help us to help at-risk students, we need you grading assignments. We need you to provide timely final grade submission. Dr. Beans already said this, and I'll just echo it. It is so important. We do need you to monitor and report the last date of attendance for the grade roster. And then we do need, as Dr. Bean said, for you to encourage student engagement in activities and career placement events. And then obviously we'd love for you to participate as well. And that you report to us in whatever way, and we'll provide you some tools for this when you have concerns about students so that we can intervene in real time. I've mentioned Monica. If you haven't been to her website, it's actually in the academics tab on our website. I have a picture here at the top of just some upcoming events. We have a social workers and their career opportunities panel coming up on the 30th. And then we have obviously our career fairs. But Monica's also doing a lot of creative things. Like she has an online bulletin board, which is this picture here at the bottom, where she is posting the many employer solicitations we're getting every day saying, I'd love to hire your students. I have jobs available. Where can I meet your students? She is posting all of that for students. She might be the most consistent student communicator at the entire university. She has emails going out to them multiple times a week. Her appointments are filling up, and she has great attendance. At some of our events, we might have over 100 students participate. That's almost unheard of in the career placement realm. In particular, at a campus that tends to be more transient and a lot of online students, she's getting huge engagement. So we want to continue to encourage that. So just a fun thing I want to share with you is that each of the campuses is having a welcome week, the very first week of each PT. And on Wednesday, the 24th, we are doing a AGM Youth Spirit Day. So we're asking that everyone wear red on that day, whether you're going to be on camera or you're going to be in the classroom. All of our staff either wear your AGMU wear or wear something red. We are very much trying in small and big ways to help our students feel a sense of belonging. They've made a good decision. They see value. They're meeting their peers. And we know that students who are engaged with the university in a variety of ways persist at greater rates than students who simply go from their car to the class to the car, right? And so this is just one fun example of a way that we can all contribute just by choosing the color red that day, as I did today. So I'm hoping that you'll all join us in our Spirit Day. And just the last thing I want to say to you is that this African proverb really speaks to me. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I really feel like together, academic affairs and student affairs in particular, we are going far together because of this wonderful partnership, and our faculty are key to that partnership working so well. So Dr. Means, thank you for the time this morning. Hopefully I stayed within my limits there. And I just want to say thank you to our great faculty. They're awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Brady. It is wonderful to be part of the team, and I've never worked so wonderfully with a student services team. We have so much that just is able to happen because we work together for the support of our students. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Right now we get to hear from James.
James, if I see you're on, you can go ahead and present. That's open to you now as well. And I have your presentation as a backup should anything go off the rails.
All right, well, thank you so much. And hello, everybody. So great to see so many wonderful faces. And thank you to Dr. Brady as well as Dr. Veens for this great opportunity to speak to you all from a retention standpoint. My name is James McKnight. I'm the Director of Retention for the Ground campuses. And I do assist with Ground, but then I am also partnered with Melissa, who is our Director of Retention for Online English. So I am going to, let's see if I can make this a little bigger here. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay. Are you all able to see? If you can confirm. Okay, thank you. All right, so again, we're so excited to be able to work with you all. Melissa and I have been on both sides of both faculty side as well as the student affairs side. And in our experience, we have realized the importance of being able to partner with faculty and develop really solid relationships. And we know that it's been really helpful in when it comes to being able to build bridges of success for our students. And so with that, again, we really are excited to work with you all as we gear up for fall. And so what is retention and why does it matter? So I know Dr. Brady talked a lot about the fact that students who feel a sense of belonging, they really do persist. We know this. We know that they also, that retention doesn't happen by accident, that it's usually a deliberate process. We know that it definitely includes faculty and staff, as well as students who are enrolled are on a consistent basis are likely to graduate on time. So that is something that we know and have seen, as well as the fact that retention is a direct outcome of the quality of the student experience, as well as their overall satisfaction. And so, as well as having that high level experience. And so it's with that that we really value being able to partner with you all, because we know that the authentic connections with our faculty and staff are imperative to our retention efforts. And so I know that we mentioned the attendance tracking. And so oftentimes we like to share a little bit of data to just share a little bit of the outcome of what has happened when it came to the attendance tracking. So we know that in October of 2021, we implemented the mandatory attendance tracking on the ground campuses in collaboration with you all in academic affairs. And we have been able to collect the data that shows that 2,000 students were reported as non-attending, and at minimum, each student received 2 intrusive communications, being encouraged to return to class, meet with their success coach, and reach out to their faculty. And as a result, we've been able to decrease our cancellations by 18%, as well as decrease our withdrawals by 10%. And students who reported as non-attending has decreased by 27% since we've implemented this. And so we're so excited to continue this process because we know that it's working in terms of us being able to engage students in a timely manner before they're marked as a no-show. And so I know I talked a lot about the retention team, but wanted to just stop to just for a minute to just give a shout out to all of our retention team members. They have been working so diligently with our students. We have student success coaches who are assigned to students by alphabet. And our success coaches are on the front lines of our students, and they generally assist them from the time that they start until they graduate with advising, with ongoing enrollments, resources and referrals. And then we also have academic retention counselors who also assist particularly on our ground campuses with specific related initiatives such as satisfactory academic progress. They conduct academic program plans for our students. They assist students with disabilities in Title IV, and so as well as our veteran students. And then we have our student success specialists who support all of our campuses, including our online campuses, and they generally work with students with targeted communication campaigns and focus on helping students navigate through their systems, general questions that they may have, and things of that sort. So definitely, we have a really great retention team that's helping supporting our students and appreciate all of their hard work. So some of our 2022, 2023 retention goals that we have here for the year is, I know we've talked a little bit about it, about improving our retention rates overall and from a semester standpoint. Also, we want to continue to implement no-show and withdrawal and cancellation interventions. One of those interventions being Cognito, as well as being able to systemize an early alert intervention process. So, and that is something that we could talk a little bit more about in detail, but in collaboration with faculty, we know that the early alert system is how we're able to identify our at-risk students, which we'll talk more about. And then implementing retention efforts across the student life cycle, as well as strengthening the onboarding process. So these are all goals that we have established for the new academic year that we are excited to partner with you all in as we move forward. But we realize that in student affairs, we can't achieve these goals without your partnership. And so it's why we're so excited to work with you as we move forward in the fall and many semesters to come. And so to kind of get into what the partnership looks like, I know Dr. Brady talked about Cognito attendance reporting, as well as the dropout detective and the early alert interventions. So again, these interventions helps us to identify and support students who are at risk, as well as to be able to provide community resources to them. And we know that it helps that we partner in order to do this, because we know that you all, in fact, in academic affairs, and particularly our faculty, may have knowledge of information that could be passed on to our retention team to reinforce what's going on in the classroom, and vice versa. You know, there may be some information that our team has from building the rapport and relationships with the students that can be passed on to the faculty. And so we really believe that a lot of these initiatives will help us to build bridges of success and to close the gaps between faculty and the retention. And then also, another partnership that's very important to us is to collect feedback from you all. At the end of my presentation, I will have a Q code that I'll share with you that we would like to request some feedback for you all to just see how we can better support our students. Also partnering with you with workshops. We know that we've conducted a lot of workshops in the past, but we have upcoming workshops that we'll do in the academic year, many of them being related to career and employer workshops, where we really value your feedback. We value your partnership and your involvement, because you're working in the field, you know, you have the knowledge base, you have the expertise. And we believe that it is important for faculty to partner with us as we engage students, because it helps them in their growth and development, not only as a student, but as a working professional. And so we're so excited to be able to partner with you in these areas, because we believe that it will really foster the student engagement that we desire to have, but also allow students to have that sense of belonging. And so again, we invite you all to partner with us as we build bridges of success for our students. And these are all ways that we envision that we're able to build that success as partners. And so to talk a little bit about Cognito attendance reporting, I'm not going to go into the details of this, because I did create a tutorial video that Bill will be sharing out with the group and posting on the faculty resource page. But definitely, I'm going to also make sure I include my contact information, so that way if you all have questions regarding Cognito attendance reporting, so feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to support with that. And so again, as it was mentioned, you know, Cognito reporting for attendance helps us to re-engage students and to intervene and to reach out to them as soon as we know that they have not attended class. And And so for that, that's the reason why the Cognito reporting is due within 24 hours of each class session during the first week. Of course, if your class meets once a week, it will be submitted once. If it meets twice a week, submit it twice, because you will have some students that may not attend the first class, but maybe they attend the second one. And so this is really helpful to have real-time reporting to make sure that we're able to reach out to students as soon as possible. And we know that we have different ways of identifying attending versus non-attending definitions. So I wanted to just go over them really quickly because it differs for the ground campus than the online. So for ground campus, attending for Cognito is for students who came to class for at least one class, session, or workshop on the ground or virtually in week 1, or students who did not come to class in the first week but made contact with the instructor to attend the second week. And sometimes that's the case for students that might be added to your class after, classes have started. And then non-attending reporting incognito is defined as a student who did not come to any class sessions or workshops in week 1 and have not made any contact with you about attending in week 2. And then for the online, their definitions of attending versus non-attending is a little different. Of course, it's student engagement in the class when it comes to assignments and discussions in the first week. And then non-attending, of course, would be students who have not engaged in the class when it comes to assignments and discussions. And definitely, if you have any detailed questions about Cognito attendance, feel free to reach out to Melissa or myself, and we'll be happy to answer questions for the sake of time. So again, this presentation will be shared with you all. These are the links that we use for Cognito reporting, specifically for attendance. And so we do ask that you bookmark it because it's what you'll use when reporting attendance for each week. And again, I'm not going to go over the details of the reporting because there is a video that kind of maps this out, but this is just a screenshot of what it looks like, where if a student is reporting as non-attending, that you will fill out the information, and then in the drop down is where you could put reasons that they're non-attending if you're aware of those reasons. And then here's another screenshot as well of those and it's just showing that there is a comment section that's added for you to do free text if you want to share notes to your retention team. So one thing to note about Cognito is that when you do this reporting, it is sent directly to our retention team, and our retention team looks at your notes. And then that way, when we follow up with students, we're able to reference any notes that you may have left for the retention team. And so definitely we appreciate your partnership in completing these forms. So as we know, Cognito attendance reporting is connected to the census reporting. The university census is required by the U.S. Department of Education, and it is managed by and processed by the registrar's office. And so for ground campuses, students must attend at least one course session during the first 2 weeks to be marked as a show. And then in terms of online English, the students must submit at least one meaningful academic related assignment to be marked as a show. And so faculty reporting their students at least after the class session at the end of the second week is what the census is. And the deadlines to submit is outlined in the academic catalog, but it's generally the third Monday of the part of term. And so students who are reported as a no-show on the official report will owe 25% of their tuition, and their federal aid could be potentially reduced or revoked. And for those reasons, it's why we want to just make sure that and encourage that we make sure that we report the show versus the no-show correctly, because if it is incorrectly reported, unfortunately, it can really heavily impact the students' accounts in terms of them owing tuition and or financial aid. And so for a student on the ground campus, these are just different scenarios as to what's considered a show versus a no-show. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do ask that you take a look at these reasons and these scenarios, because it helps to kind of define what's considered a show, what's considered a no-show when it comes to reporting for census. All right, so moving on as I kind of wrap things up, because I don't want to take too much time, is the early alert intervention. I know I mentioned it earlier. So the earlier intervention program is an online form for instructors to refer students who have exhibited academic or personal distress to the retention team for immediate intervention. So this form is something that we use when we have identified that students are at risk. And they could be at risk for any of the reasons listed here, such as tardiness, low grades or attendance, missing assignments, or unresponsive students, or any of these other reasons, as well as reasons that you'll see on the early alert form. And so this is what the form looks like. And basically it looks very similar to the attendance tracking form. There is a tutorial video that I've created for this form as well. And so basically we're asking every faculty member to complete this form if they see that their students are considered at risk for any reason. This form is what will bridge the gap between faculty and retention. And it really helps us to partner to support the students. So it could be filled out at any time during the term. So there are no deadlines. And of course, it goes directly to our success coaches and counselors who will follow up with students immediately, and we'll be able to monitor them based upon their academic progress. All right, and last but not least, Dropout Detective. I know that Dr. Brady mentioned that we have that as well. And so basically, Dropout Detective is a student retention and success solution to integrate and provide a risk index of the likelihood that a student will drop out of the course. And it analyzes past and current behaviors to predict future performance. And of course, when it comes to the Dropout Detective dashboard, it's only as good as the regular use of the gradebook, as well as the student engagement in Canvas, and as well as the retention team's ability to act in real time. And so to give you a brief screenshot of what it looks like, the Dropout Detective dashboard is it's available in Canvas, and basically students that are colored in red, yellow, and green are dependent upon their high, medium, and low index. So students who are in red are students who have several low grades, missing assignments, or no recent activity. Students who are in orange have low grades and some high grades, and then anyone in green has high grades and active in the class. So this is why when anytime, when it comes to assignments and attendance and activity, this is what we can use to measure their academic progress. And so we do ask that that grades are submitted timely so that we're able to get a clear picture of whether a student is at risk during the semester, because we're only able to identify at-risk students in these two ways, with the early alert form, but as well as in the submission of grades. But it doesn't just pick up for grades and missing assignments. It also picks up if the students have logged into Canvas, if they're submitting grades on time or submitting assignments on time, and their discussion post and submission involvement. So these are all ways that that the risk index algorithm is measuring. And so we do ask that that the grades are submitted in a timely manner, but then also we're also monitoring how often the student is logging in, how involved they are in the course. So I know that was a lot. I know I don't have time for questions, but I will definitely just leave my contact information as well as Melissa's contact information, so that if you all have questions, definitely feel free to reach out to either one of us. And I do leave you with this question that I would really, really, really love. We would love your feedback to how we can better support students in student affairs. And the question is simple as this, and you can take a picture of this code to answer it. What are some gaps that you've identified with your students that our teams in student affairs can assist you with feeling regarding student readiness, student support, and student retention? Because we know that students are not always ready to start. You know, they lack some skills or there may be some gaps that you've been able to identify with your students. And so we would really love your feedback. And I want to thank you all so much for this opportunity of being able to present today. And I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you so much, James. As James mentioned, we have the recording for Cognito training that'll go out with this video. It's 9 minutes long, and we decided to send it out directly, and we'll also be coordinating direct trainings for Cognito and Dropout Detective with our student affairs team. So thank you again, James, for presenting that. And we shall move on to operations and safety with Luz Velasquez. Obviously, AGMU takes safety and security of our community, our students, and our faculty very seriously, and we'd like to get a bit of an update from Luz. You can see that you're on, Luz, but we can't hear you just yet. There we go. There you are.
Now here I am. How are you? It's nice to have you this morning with me. Do you hear me?
We can now, yes.
Okay. As part of our emergency educational program, we are going to be talking about this morning about emergency situation procedure. Specifically, we are going to be talking about evacuation, and we are going to be talking about active shooter. Okay, so let's start. When we talk about emergency evacuation procedures, most of all we thought about fire, but there are other reasons that we may need to evacuate a building. For example, we can have a hazardous material spill, we can have a bomb threat, we can have an explosion, or even a violent behavior. Any situation that put my people inside the building in dangerous, we must evacuate the building. So how we are gonna proceed to evacuate the building when we have classes in it. The evacuation notice will be made through the fire alarm system or through the security person. Stay calm, close doors, and help coworkers or students evacuate, and go to the nearest emergency exit. Follow security guards' instruction. As the faculty, you have a goal or the only role, also important role in this situation, because you must guide the students to go to the emergency exit, the closest emergency exit of the classroom. For practicing, we used to do evacuation drills in each one of the campuses. I know that most of you may have been participating in one of those evacuation drills in the past. Participation in is mandatory. We notify the faculty before the drill so they can review the procedure with the students. They can review which one is the closest exits emergency door to the classroom. So faculty should facilitate students to participate in those drills. We are gonna see is I love to put videos because those help me explain to you how to participate or how to proceed in each one of these situations.
I'm Dr. Jeff Binnicker, and today we're going to explore patterns of motion and friction.
To share the video, Luz, the audio is fine. You'll just have to bring the browser over to the correct screen and then share that. If you'd like, I can share it as well. Okay. Luz, hold on just a second. We're not seeing the video.
They cannot see the video?
Yep, you've got to drag that right over to the same window as the presentation, and then stop sharing the presentation to share the video. Or if you'd like, I can share it.
Okay, I will do it.
Okay. If you have any problems, I've got that right here and ready to go.
Okay, so you're gonna be presenting it.
Okay, not a problem. Hang on just 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Go. Just now.
Okay.
All right, you can go ahead and reshare your presentation.
Oh, thank you. Did you enjoy it? I love it.
Very good. Yes.
It's easy to understand. Emergency situations are so stressful. I know that, but we have to try to be calm and understand those situations and know how to deal with them. So that's why I used to put short videos and funny videos so we can understand that in an emergency situation, we must keep calm and just react correctly. As I told you, participation is mandatory in each one of the fire drills or evacuation drills. So in each one of the classroom and on the hallways, we have evacuation plans with the identified evacuation routes. It's important that you look at those plans before an emergency situation. remember, when we have an emergency, it's not the moment to learn what to do. We must be prepared for an emergency situation before the emergency situation is in. Okay, so I encourage you to go to the classroom and look at the map that is in the wall, so you can know which one is the closest emergency exit to the classroom where you are doing the classes. Okay. You are going to identify the emergency exit with the exit sign. In the event of an emergency evacuation, remember that faculty is responsible for directing students to the nearest emergency exit. Okay. In those buildings that we have elevators, remember that in case of fire, you do not use the elevator. We have elevator in South Florida campus, and we will have elevator in our new campus in Tampa. Bill, I cannot share the presentation because you are sharing yours.
I put that up so that we could see what you were talking about. If you'd like, I'll drop that and you can reshare.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay, now, sorry for that. So as I was telling you, remember that you cannot use the elevator if you have an emergency. If there is a fire, you cannot evacuate using the elevator. We have an elevator in South Florida campus, and in the new building of Tampa, we are going to be using an elevator too. If there is a fire and the evacuation is because of fire, remember that while you are evacuating the building, be sure to touch the doors to see if you are not in front of the fire. If they are hot, don't open the door. Okay. If there is smoke in the air, bend down and move as close to the ground, especially your head, to reduce inhalation exposure. When you evacuate the building, remember to arrive at your meeting point and wait for instruction from the emergency personnel. Don't leave to your house, please. Stay there and be close to your people. If you are a staff member, go close to their staff member where you are. And if you are in a classroom, please, the faculty stay with their students. So if when the fire department arrives, you can tell who is inside the building and who is not. We have another video here. Bill, do you think that I can share it?
Yeah, I'll take care of that right now.
Okay.
This is a full 3.
Okay. Here we go.
Will happen while we are in our workplace.
There we go.
We don't know when an emergency will happen while we are in our workplace. In normal days, employees use designated entrances and exit. But, in the emergency scenario, regular exit might not be the quickest and safest way out. What if it happens today with you? Emergency alarms will blow out loud and you will come to know that an emergency situation has occurred. Take a moment and look around your immediate workplace for the nearest emergency exit door. All doors that open directly to the outside must be marked with illuminated exit signs. As soon as you get out, move quickly to muster point and report to your supervisor right away to let them know that you made it out safely. Do not leave the premises. Your absence might lead others to believe that you are still inside the building and could possibly result in injuries or deaths of those that could be sent to rescue you. If you are the first to encounter an emergency situation within the facility, you need to activate the alarm system to inform others. If you are a visitor in Oceaneer in Chandigarh, kindly ask facility department for a tour to know about the evacuation plan, because safety is the priority. So, be aware, be prepared and be ready.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
I will share my presentation again. Okay. There were two questions about active shooter. One of them was if we already contact the sheriff office in each one of the campuses. The answer is we are doing that. We are in that process right now because our plan is to do an exercise in each one of the campuses with the sheriff department or the police department for active shooter. That is our plan for next year. And also another question, if we have a mass communication system for the emergencies. And the answer is yes, we have Blackboard Connect. That is, it's an application that doesn't have anything to do with Blackboard. And in an emergency, we can communicate the procedures or what to do by text message to each one of you. Probably in the past, you have received messages by text message about what to do or when we are going to close or when we are going to open the building. And that is the application we are using. Well, now we are going to be talking about active shooter. I know that active shooter is one of the situation or emergency situation more scary to everyone, but it's important for each one of us to know the procedures that we can do. Starting with what is an active shooter? An active shooter, as defined by the FBI, is a person or group of persons actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people with a firearm in a populated area. Okay. If we look at the statistics, according to the FBI report, last year active shooter attacks increased 52.5% compared to the previous year. So that's a big increase. In 2021, 61 active shooters incidents were recorded. While in 2020, there was 40 active shooter situation recorded. So it's a big increase. In the previous years, we have 30 incidents, 31 incidents. So this is why we must talk about this situation, and we have to talk about what to do and how we can respond to a situation like that. First of all, the FBI was trying to establish a profile of the active shooter, and they analyzed 55 most recent active shooter cases, trying to identify that profile. As a summary, they found the following characteristics in shooters. Most of them had abandoned medical treatment, suffered from rejection, maybe narcissistic, lack of empathy, usually radical belief, living in a negative or stressful environment, may have had a failed suicide attempt, obsession with a murder, visit the target area to familiarize themselves or plan for the attack. Most of them actually were students of the school that they was attacking, may have been a victim of bullying or make jokes about topics and threats. Based on those profiles, the main finding of the FBI was that no accurate or useful profile to identify a person before an attack is committed. Only 7% of the incidents of school violence are impulsive and sudden acts. Most attackers have engaged in some behavior prior to the incident. In 81% of the cases, other students were involved in the attack. Before most incidents occur, other people knew about the attacker's idea and or attack plan. There is a long trail of warning signs leading us to the act of violence, such as trying to recruit a partner, writing hate stories, obsessed with firearms, etc. So what that means is that prevention can provide significant resource to reduce the number of active shooter incidents. When the active shooter situation happens, it's so difficult to deal with that. So we must be looking for those indicators in our students or in our community. And if you see something, say something. It's important. Educators and parents and sometimes the students can recognize certain early warning signs in our community. What about those signs? What signs can we be looking at? For example, one unusual behavior change is important to identify. If you have a student and you notice a change in their behavior, and some indicators are like, for example, displays of aggressive attitude, temper, unusual interest in firearms or weapons, disgust, intent to harm others, indication of mental health issues, a noticeable decrease in work performance. Pay attention to how she or he speaks about work or class, comments about himself, and statements about other or home life. Please be always attempting to those signs. And if you see something, say something. Maybe we can stop something before it occurs, okay? If we cannot recognize or de-escalate some situation, and if something happened in our school, in our college, in our campus, when an active shooter situation occurs, usually they are unpredictable, evolve quickly. The immediate deployment of law enforcement is required to stop the shooting and mitigate harm to victims. And it's difficult to stop in that moment. So if active shooter situation, if there is an active shooter situation, never activate the fire alarm. Why? Because if you are hiding in some place or the students are hiding in some place, the fire alarm will tell everybody to go outside. So that is one of the important things. We have been looking at this video that the Homeland Security is the one who run this video with some ideas of what to do if we have an active shooter. Can you help me, Bill?
Absolutely. Do you want to just play one right after the other?
Thank you.
You've got it.
Just the first one.
Just the first one? Okay, not a problem.
School shootings are a tragic event that can happen anywhere. An active shooter is a person that actively engages in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. Active shooters primarily use firearms, and there is no pattern or method to their selection of victims.
Book 2 shelves from the back, but it's not labeled.
Well, I'll see if it's in the system, and if it is, then you can take it. It's not showing up. Where'd you find it?
It was 2 shelves.
Oh, everybody up! Go to the back of the room!
Your best chance of survival is to run. First, you should determine if it is safe to escape. If it is safe, run as fast as you can, away from the direction of the gunshots. Identify a safe place and get away from the threat.
Will everybody come on up? Please be careful on your way out.
Leave your belongings behind. Help others escape if possible. When fleeing from danger, keep buildings, cars, or other objects between you and the threat. If it is unsafe to run, hide.
Hey guys, it's going to be on pages 32 through 84, paragraphs 3 through 6 each page, please. Got 3 weeks before this assignment is due. Here we are, guys. Guys, do exactly what I say.
If escape is not feasible, hide and create a stronghold. Lock the door. Place barricades on all of the doors. Silence your cell phones and turn off vibrate mode. Turn off the lights and close the blinds. Remain quiet. Call 911 when it is safe to do so. Once you have secured the door, do not open it for anyone. Police will enter the room when the situation is over. If you are unable to run or hide, defend. Prepare yourself mentally and physically for the possibility of engaging the shooter. Your job is to be the leader and the first line of defense for your students.
Hey, hold up. I got a text message saying that there's a shooter on campus.
I got the same text. Barricade the door! Barricade the door! That way!
Fight for your life by committing to your actions. This should be a last resort. Act as aggressively as possible. Improvise weapons. Attack in a group. If possible, grab the shooter's limbs and head. Take them to the ground and hold them there. When officers arrive, do not approach officers. Keep your hands where they can see them. Do not make any sudden movements. Remain calm and follow the officer's commands.
Running south down through the long hallway, approach the cafeteria. Please, everyone down! Get down! Keep your hands up. On the ground! Keep your hands down. Keep your hands down. On the ground.
In any kind of school emergency, parents, family members, and concerned citizens will show up in an attempt to find their loved ones. Please encourage compliance with instructions from school and emergency personnel. In order to facilitate a successful resolution, everyone must remain calm and allow those directly involved to do their job without interference. your best option for survival is to run, hide, defend.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for your comments in the chat. I was looking at them, and yes, this is so sad situation, and it's very sad that we must be talking about this. And I know everyone is concerned, especially if you have kids in school. You are a little more concerned about these situations, and of course we must talk about this. Depending on where you are, remember that depending of where you are in the moment of the active shooter situation is the response that you are gonna be using to save your life in something like this. If you are close to an emergency exit door, so run, okay? But if you are in a place that you don't really know where is the shooter, it's better to hide. If you cannot hide, so prepare to fight. Those are the three options that we have. No matter where you are, because this situation is also happening in shopping centers, in church, in street, in concerts. So you must have a personal plan to respond for this situation. Okay? Just reviewing the details about each one of the response possibility. If we are going to run, have an escape route and plan it in your mind. If you are in the school, in the campus, as I already told you before, we have an evacuation plan in each one of the classrooms. We have in the hallways the same evacuation map. So go look at it before you start doing something in the campus. And also I recommend everyone to walk the campus. You must know the building. You must know where the emergency exit doors are. Don't wait for an emergency to occur to just go and look around what you have to do. Remember the exit signs, they are illuminated always, so you can follow the emergency exit sign, and that's gonna bring you to the outside of the building. If possible, help others to escape. Leave your belongings, prevent people from entering when you are going outside the building. Do not try to move the gauntlet. Keep your hands visible where you vacate. Follow the instruction of the police and call 911 when it is safe to call, okay? These are examples of how to hide or how to barricade the place where you are. You can put the table, the chairs in the classroom, just in the door, and that is going to be so difficult to the person to go inside the classroom. Sometimes it's difficult. Some people think that it's easy to put something to close the door from the inside, but remember that we have some regulation from the fire department because we are a college and we cannot do something that you can close the door from the inside in the classroom, that the fire department, in case of an emergency like a fire or something like that, cannot open the door from the hallway. That's why sometimes it's so difficult to close the classrooms. But you can put, like you saw in the picture, you can put the tables, you can put the chairs in front of the door, and that's helped a lot to make difficult to the active shooter, to go inside the room. Hide. If you are hiding, your hiding place must be out of sight of the active shooter. Provide protection if shots are fired. If the shooter is nearby, secure the door and turn off the light and silence your cell phone. This is one of our important things because if you are hiding and your phone just ring, you are going to be without protection. If you are going to fight, act as aggressively as possible. Remember, it's for your life. Improvise weapons and or throw objects. You know, sometimes with us, we have the cell phone, we have shoes, we have maybe a bottle of water. Those are stuff that we can use as weapon to defend ourselves. So aggressively and commit to your actions. When law enforcement agencies arrive to the place, remember that their goal is to stop the active shooter. So they are not going to help people in the floor with wounds. They are not going to help them in that moment. They are going to be looking for the active shooter to stop the shoot. So if you are going outside and the law enforcement agencies are already over there, remember to go outside, put your hands visible up, because you don't want to be confused with the active shooter person. Stay calm, drop any item you have in your hands, raise your hands and extend your fingers, avoid making quick and sudden movement. Remember, you don't want to be confused with the active shooter. Avoid pointing or screaming, proceed in the direction the agents are entering. Okay? These are the resources that we have that we can use if we want to look for more information about active shooter. Answering some question in the chat. Yes, in Parkland, in the active shooter case in Parkland, the shooter activated the fire alarm because he was a student and he knows the procedures. That is why sometimes it's a little tricky to share all the details of the procedures with anyone and with everyone, because they can be used against you. So the active shooter situation in Parkland, he was a student and he knows if they activate the fire alarm system, everybody was going outside the classroom, and that was happening. Also, he knows that the students is going to be hiding in one of the walls in the classroom. So he broke the crystal of the door and put the gun inside the classroom and just pointed to the side where the students was hiding. That was one situation that happened in Parkland. And the evacuation plans are posted in the campus. Yes, that is yes. As I told you, in each one of the classroom we have the evacuation plan also in the hallways. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the other questions that you put in the chat. I'm going to try to respond for them. I can send email for you the response, and also I can talk with Bill how I can reach the professor, the faculty. Again, as I told you in the beginning, I'm going to be going to all the campuses. I love to do this presential, not by Zoom, but this is the way that we can reach everyone. But I'm going to be reviewing this situation, these procedures in each one of the campus presential when I'm there, because I do the training for the staff, and we invited faculty in those trainings. So if you are able to be there, we are going to be so happy to be with you there to practice in the classrooms, how to barricade the doors, and of course doing like a drill with the police department too. Thanks for being here. That's it.
Okay, thanks so much. I'll hand it back over to Dr. Veens for our closing remarks before we move on.
All right. Hi, everybody. So that was a shocking video, and I know that it was difficult for me to watch. So I'm sure for others, especially if you have children in school or, see this and are afraid of what might happen, I think it's important that we all know what to do and what is the best options for us if this does happen. However, of course, we will always say that hopefully we never are in this situation, any of us. But even when you're not ever going to be in a situation, it's good to know what's going on. I can tell you that we had a situation recently at Metro Orlando, which was not an active shooter, but it was perceived as it could be. We were locked down within seconds. And even when the police came in, they said, we locked down very well. We were locked down in seconds. We will do everything that we can on our end. We just want to make sure that everyone stays safe. So I did not want to end this on that dramatic of an end, but I do appreciate everyone coming today. Our next step is going to be to discuss some of Canvas. I know Bill is going to do a quick couple-minute introduction, and then he will post in the chat for anyone who wants to go through the trainings. If you can't go through the training today, it's fine. They are recorded. Please just make sure before classes start that you've gone through the training so that you at least have the understanding of what Canvas means, because all of your students will be in there. They will be expecting you to be in there. They will be expecting to see their syllabi in there. So let's try to do that. If you need any help, we're here to help. If there's something that you're not sure how to do, reach out. There's many people that have been trained, have experienced knowledge in Canvas, and they will be here to help you. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Bill and let him put a high note on this, and we'll move on to the next step. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beans, for all the information this morning. Great to see which direction AGM University is going in. I know it was certainly a somber topic that we had to review just now. Hopefully it is information, as I saw in the chat, well said, that we never have to use, but we have to be aware of, unfortunately, in the world that we have. So now for a delightful change of pace, we'll look at Canvas, and I want to give a special thank you to some key individuals all along the network here. First off, Professor Rafael Del Rio in Metro Orlando. He's been doing an amazing job with assisting in translation and assisting with sessions for faculty members and for students. So he's doing an exceptional job there. Manuel Robana in Tampa Bay has been administering the Tampa Bay Canvas Sandbox course and has been key in coordinating trainings and making sure that he and Anthony Martin in IT over there have the ability to show students and to show professors exactly how to use Canvas. It's a tool that gets easier the more you use it. Hopefully it's very user-friendly right off the bat. Carolyn Escobar in South Florida has also been amazing in helping to translate our student walk to class into Spanish so that we can ensure our students coming over from online Spanish are ready and have a training area as well, in addition to the student retention team and the IT team for online Spanish. I know that we're still working through some login issues. Please know that there are some conditions to being logged into Canvas. First, right now, you'd have to be an instructor who is teaching in the fall term, any one of the fall terms for any campus. As long as you are scheduled to teach, your Canvas access is active. Those lists are being pulled into the system by Ricardo Hernandez, our Canvas admin, daily. And so it's a little bit of a process to get that connected. It's the same credentials as Blackboard when you try to log in. If that does not work for you, don't panic. Reach out to your IT contact and make sure that you have contacted them to let them know that your Canvas access, you're having trouble logging in. Sometimes it's as simple as a clarification on the username. There shouldn't be much difference between the Blackboard username and the Canvas username, but Banner being the system that it is, occasionally there's some conflict there that needs to be cleared up, and our IT team, so Piwan, Hansel in South Florida, Anthony in Tampa Bay, and Carlos Cabeza in Metro Orlando have been doing an amazing job. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the newest and highest ranking member of our library resource team, Dr. Leonidas Perez, coming on to oversee our library and build our online library and really make AGM use resources for both students and faculty the best they can be. And everything that Leonidas does is also echoed by Dirsa, who has been a name that I'm sure many of us are very familiar with. She is an incredible level of support for not only online Spanish or online students, but for everyone. So again, the library resource team is amazing. The IT team is amazing. It's going to take a lot of work as a collaborative community to get everyone into Canvas, but once we're in, we've got the faculty walk to class training. We've got the FACE, the Faculty Center, Faculty Advancement Center for Excellence, our tutorial videos, which I posted the link to earlier in the chat. I'll post again to where those can be found, as well as the recordings for all of our training sessions. So there's ample opportunity for us to see this. I know we're getting a lot of questions in the chat as far as how to access the Faculty Advancement Center in Canvas. That's being auto-enrolled, so that as we're bringing those lists of instructors in, you're being auto-enrolled. That will magically appear on your dashboard when you log into Canvas. There's nothing else additional that you need to do. If you're in Canvas and you are a faculty member, you will have that assigned and it will show up on your dashboard. You'll also get an invite that you've been invited to join that class, just like you've gotten for any other Canvas class, either one that you teach or one that you're enrolled in as a student for training. We will take a look at the chat. I know that we have our Canvas training. I posted the link directly into the chat here. That session was set to start at noon today, but we'll be kicking it off at about 11:15. I wanted to give everyone a bit of a chance to grab a coffee, take a little break, stand up from our desks, exercise the legs, and then at 11:15, really starting off at 11:30, we will jump into the Canvas training at the link. I'll post it here again. I will be taking these questions that we're getting in the chat that are Canvas specific and answering those there. I'll also be sending those responses out in an FAQ with the recording of this semester meeting. So please feel free, again, if there's something you think about over the weekend, feel free to write to me directly, WLynch, LYNCH, at uagm.edu. We're addressing issues and resolving this as quickly as we can with IT, with our Canvas admins, with Banner. It's a real team effort. So
Bill, I just want
Yeah.
to cut in really quickly. If you are teaching in an online class, whether it's online English or it's online Spanish, when you get into Canvas, you'll see that you have your FACE Center, but you won't have a course assigned in Canvas yet. All courses that are online will roll all next week. So you will see those come up early next week. We've had to move everything from Blackboard to Canvas and move it from 8 weeks to 7 weeks. So we're doing one big roll for everybody to get access. We are around all week. Nobody is going to abandon you, I promise. We are here. You can email any one of the team and they will jump on and they will help you in any way that we can to get you set up and get you ready to go. I will be answering any of the questions that did come up. Some of them I need to go to my counterparts to get their information on it, but I will then send these out if they were not already answered. All right. So everybody enjoy your Canvas training, enjoy your week before the start of class. Everybody says, why did I have it this week? I had it so you have a week to get ready for Canvas. So you have a week to play with it, a week to get in there and to get some of Bill's trainings done. If there's anything else that you need, please make sure that you reach out. We are here to support our faculty always.
So thanks so much, Dr. Beans.
All right, guys, have a great afternoon.
All right, see everyone in the Canvas training. I'll start that up in just a moment.